Yeah, you're like friend of the pod, friend of the pod.
Friend of the bird.
Friend of the bird. Yeah, I can have my own little. I can have a little coop, is what you're saying.
Yeah, put me in the nest. No.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Today's guest is someone you know and love. She's one of the most versatile and dominant forwards in the game. This season, she's been on a roll with Miss BC in Unrivaled, putting up numbers while leading her team to the playoffs. Today, we're talking about the journey, her approach to the game, the 3-on-3 game, and of course, all things Unrivaled. Like I said, you know her, you love her. I'm talking about none other than Breanna Stewart. But before we get into the interview, you know what time it is? It's time for Sue's View. Support for this show comes from TNT Sports. The final week of the Unrivaled season is here. Be sure to lock in on Unrivaled playoffs beginning on Saturday, February 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern to see who will call themselves the champion. Catch all of the action on TNT, True TV, and HBO Max. For more information and to stay up to date with league news, visit Unrivaled on TNTSports.com. Follow @Unrivaled Basketball and @BRW Sports on social platforms and subscribe to the league's newsletter found at unrivaled.basketball/newsletter. Okay, this week for Sue's View, it's going to be pretty simple. The Unrivaled season is coming to an end. It is time for playoffs. There's one game left in the season. And so we're just going to talk playoff picture a little more in depth. The Lunar Owls and the Hive are out of playoff contention, and they're actually playing against each other in this final game. So they're very much in their Cabo on 3 era. I wouldn't be surprised if bags and apartments are packed, unless they stay in Miami and enjoy the weather and check out the playoffs. Moving on, the Vinyl have actually locked up the 6th seed. So that's done and dusted. And what's also guaranteed is that the Phantom are getting a bye. Whether they're 1 and 2, we'll see, but they definitely get a bye and they move on to the semis. Now, this could be a good thing for the Rose. The Rose are fighting with the Breeze for that 4th seed, and they play the Phantom. And sometimes when teams have already made the playoffs, they can rest players. So TBD on that. The Laces and the Mist can both get byes, meaning they both have the chance to get that final bye spot. But similarly to what I said about the Rose Phantom matchup, the Mist play the Vinyl. And because the Vinyl are locked up, will they rest players? I don't know, TBD. It's all very complex and could easily come down to a bunch of different tiebreakers. In the event of a tie, it goes to record against each other. Then it goes to record versus playoff teams, and then finally point differential for the season. I think the thing that is most interesting to me, probably to everybody, is definitely where the Mist and the Laces are going to end up. They're fighting for that final bye. It's an automatic trip to not only the semis, but to Barclays on March 2nd. It's going to be amazing, an amazing environment. Honestly, there's actually no better time to get our guest on, who might be feeling the pressure to get to New York City more than anyone. So please welcome Breanna Stewart. Stewie, welcome back to the show. I think you might be, so I've had Chelsea Gray on twice, but she came on with Alicia Gray. So you might be the first person to come on by themselves, a solo reoccurrence here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm every 6 months.
Yeah, you're friend of the pod, friend of the pod.
Friend of the bird.
Friend of the bird. Yeah, I can have my own little. I can have a little coop, is what you're saying.
Yeah, put me in the nest. No.
Let me also welcome you back to the podcast world. You obviously had Stewie's World a couple years ago, but now you're back. For those that don't know, Stewie has a podcast with Miles Turner, Game Recognized Game. You should check it out. I really enjoyed your guys's. I feel I love watching your chemistry unfold. You're getting more and more comfortable, more and more topics, or you're able to dive in a little bit more. So it's been good. Have you been enjoying it?
Yeah, we've definitely been enjoying it. I think the hardest thing, which to your credit and all the podcasters' credit, is scheduling. And especially with Miles and having this cool crossover between NBA and W or whatever you want to call it at this point. There's games all the time. I have Unrivaled games every weekend, and then he has 5 games in 7 days. And it's well, when do you record the pod? So we're working on that, but I feel our chemistry's been good, and just trying to give fans a little bit different perspective from all the other ones.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's been great. All right, well, you brought up Unrivaled. So let's dive right in. Season's coming to an end. Playoffs will start this weekend. But let's go back to last season just for like a second.
Yeah.
So last
my team was
season,
so bad.
yeah. Well, I wasn't going to say that, but you did start 0-4. You started the season 0-4. You didn't make the playoffs. So, the Mist, you guys are still figuring out if you're going to get a bye, but you've definitely locked up playoffs. So that's good for you. You were dealing with an MCL situation. So this year has been much different. You actually opened up with back-to-back game winners. Like I said, you're in the playoffs. So what does it feel like to be playing not just healthy, but to be healthy in the league you created?
Yeah. I think to be playing healthy in the league that I created, I just feel like back to myself, honestly. And that's the biggest thing. I knew that, no matter what, I got hurt in game 5 of the finals. And I tried to start ramping back up, and it just wasn't working to prep for Unrivaled. But I didn't want to sit out. It's like the inaugural season, like all these things. Being a co-founder, I had to be there. I just played through it. And, dealing with an injury and having to play through it is probably the worst thing, because that's all you're doing. That's all you're spending your time on. So really excited to be able to be healthy this year. Look forward to playing, being myself on the court, getting back to all the things that I wanted to do last year, but really couldn't. And now my team is winning. We're trying to fight for this top 2 seed and really get that bye to Barclays.
Do you know yet? I was looking a little bit at the standings.
It's very confusing.
It's very, I talked about it in the earlier part of the show before bringing you on. I was just like, it's complex. You're just going to have to wait and see. I'm not even going to try to figure it out. Do you have any idea? Obviously, if you win, you're good.
Kind of.
Really?
Yeah.
If you win, there's still a chance.
If we win, Laces win, Phantom lose, that makes a 3-way tie.
Oh my God. I thought the Phantom were locked in.
And then I don't know what happens.
Okay.
But
that's
Phantom
crazy.
can't
I thought
drop
the Phantom
below
were
2.
locked.
They can't drop below 2.
Okay, so they're locked in the bye.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then they might play the 3 or the 4. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, it's
For
basically
a second, I thought I was gonna have to redo what I said.
They came back to us after the last game, because we were all of a sudden, Veronica Burton was like, "Oh, we're second," and I was like, "Wait, what?" I thought we couldn't move from 3. And it goes record. It goes record against head-to-head record against playoff teams, and then point differential, not against the teams that you're tied with, just overall. So that's the thing that's in our favor, is our point differential is nuts.
Oh, that's where you would tip it. Okay, man. Yeah, it's complex, but yeah, just quickly on what you're saying about when you're a player and you have the type of injury that you can play on, but you have to do so much maintenance just to play. You don't realize just how, what a drain that is until you don't have to do it, until it's not a part of your everyday. I always say you know how us athletes call regular people.
Yeah. Sorry.
Or regular people who live in the real world. And then there's us. I always tell regular people, I'm like, it's like when you're really sick, and then the day that you recover and you're like, oh my God, I didn't realize how great feeling normal was. Being just normal feels amazing. So I'm really happy to hear that this year. Yeah, I'm really happy to hear that this year it feels that way, because you're averaging close to 20 points. You're shooting it pretty efficient. You're shooting 50% from the field. Your threes are at 30. We can go higher. Okay. But no,
I'll take it.
This is good. This is good. No, all jokes aside, you're shooting it efficiently. Given that Unrivaled and 3-on-3 in general is just a faster paced game, what do you think's allowing you to maintain that efficiency? Because you could argue that a faster pace could drop that.
Yeah, I think just really trying to pay attention to where I'm trying to get to. Especially once you get the ball off of a rebound, it's a shorter court, attacking downhill, getting into the RA and really making a decision. But then also knowing when, you're going to have some deep, some walk-in threes that you just have to shoot, because basketball players mindset is to run back to the paint, right? Run back and then match up. But then it's like you cross half court and you're open. So it's like instead of having 4 steps, it's literally 2 steps and being ready to shoot it. But yeah, I mean, I also like my teammates. I think that I've had a really great time with my Miss team this year, playing with basically every player that I play with on this team. Lee, V, Lan, Leash, Arike, like all those players I haven't played with before, especially in a long-term setting, and getting to know them and understand that, you know, they're just pros. We all come in, we get our work done, and we get out of there.
Well, now that since you brought your teammates up, let's stay with it. Let me start with like Alicia Gray, because you guys seemingly have formed this like dynamic duo. There was one game where you combined for like, I forget, like 68 points or something crazy. What do you think works so well between the two of you?
I think what works so well between Leash and I is just the fact that we're both unselfish. You know, she's competitive, and we kind of just have this tandem where it's not always ball screen action, but it's like, okay, you have the better matchup, you go at him. I have the better matchup, I'll go at him. And just trying to create something like Zach, our coach, Zach O'Brien, like his principles are basically to not ball screen and, you know, bring 2 to the ball a lot, but instead create space. And so that means you have to like create an advantage off of a one-on-one. And when we do that, it's an easier read. You're either kicking it or shooting it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense because you're both these like really versatile types that can do a bunch of different things. So depending on your matchup, makes total sense to just like go at whoever has the better matchup. You already brought up Veronica V and Arike. What's it been like? You've never played with them before.
Starting with Arike, I think, you know, she's a player in the W that everybody knows. She's like a high level scorer. You know, she can shoot it at a high clip and all of that. But to see her, just her mindset, the way she works, and really trying to help lead her and help her understand like why we're kind of doing the things that we're doing, or why I'm seeing the game the way that I'm seeing, because she's always been the vet for the most part in Dallas. She's always had younger players and like new coaches and all of this, and trying to give her a little bit of consistency, like stable type of environment as far as like what we need out of her and what she's going to expect night in and night out. And it's been really fun. I'm hoping that, you know, when she walks away from here, she's kind of grown and learned a lot about the many different ways that she can impact the game. Veronica, she's like a blue collar, you know, tough nosed player that she's constantly in the gym, constantly working on her shot, constantly just making sure she puts the extra effort in. And I kind of, in the beginning, I was like, okay, you know, when someone starts, you're like, let's see if it stays consistent. And throughout this entire course, she's been in the gym all the time. And I think that the reason because of that is this is how she got here. You know, she had like a up and down start in the W, and she probably just kept showing up, kept working, and got her moment and got her chance with the Valkyries, and she's never going to let that go.
No, I feel like when you're that player and for whatever reason, like it changes, like it turns the corner. Now you're like, oh, well, I got to keep going. Like it actually worked. So you get even like more addicted to it. You do it even more, you know, you don't let up. The player that I'm like most interested in asking you about, well, first of all, playing with Lee has to be much better than playing against her. I know you matched up in the one-on-one. But yeah, Lee's tough. But Alana Smith, right? Like here's a player that we all know if you go back to the finals 2 years ago, you guys had to match up a lot. She was co-defensive player of the year. So it's just a player that you have battles against. She's tough. She's tough. She's tough. So what's it like playing with her?
Yeah, I mean, that's the one where in the beginning I was like, I don't know how this is going to go. There's been like plenty of drama between us, between like New York, Minnie, like all of that. But playing with Lan, she's a lot of fun. She brings that energy, that excitement every single day. And she knows how to like talk shit a little bit. And you kind of love to hear that banter. But the way that she kind of reads the game, the way that she understands her role, you know, it was like probably in the beginning, day one, and she's like, I'm not going to always do the things that are the most sexy, but I'm going to do the things that like get the job done. And, you know, for her to realize that and know that, you know, she's here to do the 1%ers. Obviously her skill set is beyond that, but just a recognition of that, because I feel like not many people want to do the dirty work of the 1%ers. And it's been cool to see her like just really adjust and adapt to this game, especially Lan, Lee, and V. They didn't play last year, and you basically
Right.
had a disadvantage when you didn't play last year, because it's something you've never done before. But she's really kind of adapted to it quickly.
Yeah. Well, you bring up a good point. So for you, what do you think you learned in year one that come year two you were able to like quickly utilize? You're like, I need to get in amazing shape.
Right. I think it's amazing shape, but also it's like understanding the flow, understanding the pace. When last year it would be like, all right, there's no help side, so I have to just like run here and run there and run here and like constantly just be all over the place. Now you pick and choose your battles a little bit. You learn, especially offensively, when to slow up. Like, Sue, like when there's moments of like chaos and craziness, you're like, all right, guys, stop. Like, let's just calm down. Having that, being able to feel and sense that a little bit, and also knowing the principles aren't the same. You're not running to the corner. You're not trying to 3-step it to the corner. You're basically like stopping at the wing or the break, because if you get all the way to the corner and someone shoots you got to run all the way back down. And just really being conscientious of where you are. Don't fly underneath the basket, because you're never going to get back on defense, that type of thing.
I know that's actually come up like the last couple of episodes I've done. Just this, like actually it could be anybody. You drive, you shoot, maybe you go up for a layup, maybe you're fouled, maybe you're not, you fall down. It sounds like the worst scenario. Yeah, you're cooked.
Toast.
You're never getting back. I find it so funny because I noticed it even last year. I was like, oh my God, falling down is the worst.
Falling down is the worst. Arguing with the refs, worst. The moment the other team sees you like turn your head and argue with the ref, they're taking it out of bounds, they're throwing it up the court, and you're in trouble.
That's funny. Support for this show comes from TNT Sports. Winning is the only thing that matters in Unrivaled. And now it's time to crown a champion. That's right, the Unrivaled playoffs start this weekend and the battles are just getting started. See the best of the best lock in their final playoff positioning as the regular season comes to a close. Watch as Paige Beckers and the Breeze take on Alyssa Thomas, Jackie Young, and the league-leading Laces. See who will secure the right to challenge for the ultimate prize. Make sure to check out all the action in anticipation for the Unrivaled playoffs starting Saturday, February 28th, with the championship game taking place on March 4th. Catch all of the action on TNT, True TV, and HBO Max. For more information and to stay up to date with league news, visit Unrivaled on TNTSports.com, follow @Unrivaled Basketball and @BRW Sports on social platforms, and subscribe to the league's newsletter found at unrivaled.basketball/newsletter. Well, you brought up earlier just like this idea of you're really able to get to your spots. Do you think it's easier to do that in 3-on-3 because there's so much more spacing? And I am curious how you approach and like how your preparation in terms of getting to your spots, like game planning that, how it's different in Unrivaled than the WNBA, like basically 3-on-3 and 5-on-5.
Yeah. Okay. I think the way that I'm preparing to get to my spots, it's more like basically thinking about like off the dribble threes, right? In transition, like hezzy threes, knowing that those are always going to be there. But trying to like get downhill in the middle, like in the slots, because that's where you have the most space, especially in transition. In the post, I feel like they don't double. Like you can't double. If you double, it's an automatic 3 or a layup or something. So it's like you just get to where you want, where you're comfortable with that ISO and that one-on-one and kind of go from there. But we've been trying to kind of test the nail, basically. Like I said, Zach wants us to do more. I'm giving away our scouting report. A more like off-ball situations and see what they do, because it's like, well, what do you do when it's a guard to post or guard to guard and that type of thing? And create confusion for something. And then what was the first question?
Just like, honestly, you kind of answered it. I was just kind of talking about, is it different in 3-on-3, 5-on-5, the way you prepare in terms of like getting to spots?
Yeah, I think it's different. It's definitely different. Even after my first year with Unrivaled, I was like, this game is like unlike 5-on-5.
Mm-hmm.
There's some similarities, but my spots are different as far as like I'm not in any really horns or top of the key, ghost out, slips, that type of thing for a 3, because it's like it's kind of just unnecessary movement. Yeah, and it's just gonna happen like out of playing. I think really this one is like everyone says like the mid range, you don't want the mid range, whatever. This game, you really want the RA in the 3.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So for those listening, just real fast, RA is restricted area. It's like that circle thing under the basket. So that's what Stewie means there. No worries, no worries. Gotta get our lingo going for everybody. The nail is like literally this little nail that's in the middle of the free throw line. And we all use it. Usually on defense, you talk about like being at the nail, but on offense too. That's definitely a spot people like to get to.
It's where people line up on the free throw line offensively.
Yeah.
Like to shoot their free throw.
Right. And then I think the other thing you said was like slots, which is basically just like the lane lines all the way down the court, back and forth. Like those are considered the slots. So yeah, it makes total sense, everything you're saying, especially the horns and like you said, ghost screens, like slip outs, going to set the screen, faking it, slipping out. You don't even need to do it. It's save your energy. So I totally hear you in Unrivaled. You find there's like different ways to save your energy than in 5-on-5. And I feel like you're right. If you didn't do it in year 1 and year 2 is your first year, you got to figure that out fast. But what's something you think Unrivaled has exposed about your game? Like maybe good or bad, I guess. I feel like exposed means bad, but that you didn't really expect. You're like, oh crap, I got to get better at this.
I think one thing that Unrivaled probably exposed about my game, I don't think it's really exposed. I think people know it's like, listen, when I have to guard like the big 5s, I'm like, oh, this is a nightmare. Like, they're just like, do. Yeah. You saw that with me against Aaliyah Boston in the one-on-one. I was just like,
everybody was like that against her.
But because it's like in the WNBA, when I have those matchups, I'm having a double. I'm having help. I'm just trying to make them get off their spot and like dribble for a second. And here it's like, well, there's no help. So like, try to make them just shoot a tough contested shot or go over the shoulder that they don't want to go to. But that's definitely like one of the harder pieces is like trying to contain the bigs one-on-one. And then, I mean, in any situation, you're like exposed all the time defensively.
Yeah, totally. What player this year has maybe like surprised you the most?
Well, I think Sykes looks really good for the Laces. I think that she's kind of like found her rhythm, and especially after last season in Unrivaled, and then in the W, like when you get traded, things become a little bit more difficult to kind of get back into your groove. And she's being confident with her shot, really getting downhill. And being aggressive. And the other person I would say was kind of AB, Aaliyah Boston. She didn't have the best first season at Unrivaled, and I think she can acknowledge that too. But she came out and, now on a new team with the Phantom, Ron has been really instrumental in getting her exactly where she needs to be and building up that confidence. Her catch and shoot threes are something that's, I don't know what the percentage is, but she's shooting it at a high clip and really putting the defense at a tough spot all the time once you can stretch the floor.
Yeah. AB looks and feels like she's hitting that I know who I am era of her her career. You definitely saw moments of it. She's obviously had a successful career up to now, but now it's like solidifying, like I know who I am. You just made me think of, I don't know, we obviously don't know how the playoffs are going to shake out in terms of the seeding, but would you say, I think the Laces are maybe like one of the tougher teams to match up with because of their versatility across the board, but then they don't have that big 5.
That big, yeah.
Yeah. So like, I'm just curious how you think of the Laces specifically.
Yeah, I think the Laces, they're just, when you think of that team, they're just like strong and physical, but they're not really the biggest, like tall. And I think that they've kind of put themselves in a tougher spot because they've lost 2 games in a row. At one point, they were for sure going to get the bye, and now it's in question. But yeah, it's like trying to match that physicality and use like speed, because I don't think they play at the highest pace. So trying to like really push it and like get downhill and get shots at the rim.
All right, now we've entered kind of like the playoff part of the conversation. How do you feel heading into this last game? And honestly, I gotta ask: is there more pressure for you to get to New York, just given that you're a Liberty player?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I'm
tell me
literally
about
like,
that.
that's all I'm thinking about. The moment Alex like asked me like, oh, Barclays is open March 2nd. Should we go? And I'm like, yes, we should absolutely go. I don't care if you only have 3 weeks to sell tickets. I'm sure they'll sell out.
Oh wait, so did that decision, just real quick, did that decision happen after Philadelphia had already had its success? Okay.
After Philly.
So it was like, oh, this is amazing. This show on the road works. Let's do it. I love that. Okay.
Yeah, it was like extremely last minute. But like what I said to Alex is like, this is something you can't say no to. This is an incredible opportunity. And like, especially for the semis, like where the stakes are really, really high, like bring that into it. So yeah, I am feeling the pressure. I think that I really want to just bring my team to New York and know that that's going to be an awesome atmosphere to play in. But yeah, I think our mindset is we have to win Friday. And then we play early. We play at 2:15, and then we'll just wait. Like, as long as we control what we can control, we'll see what happens. And if we have to play Saturday, we play Saturday.
Yeah, man. Stressful. You're either like coasting to New York or you have a back-to-back.
Exactly.
That's tough. But at least your game's early. Gives you like, I don't know, 6-7 more hours of rest than anybody else.
Yeah, and we know, like, regardless, if we're playing Saturday, we play vinyl. We play vinyl Friday, we play vinyl Saturday.
Oh, that's right, because they're locked up and you'd be, okay, yeah. Okay, that's good. That's also a little bit of a mindfuck. Although I don't know if they'll play everybody.
I don't know. I don't know either. Like, I mean, when I thought we were going to be only 3, I was going to be like, well, I'll just wait till Saturday.
Exactly.
But now
that's what the vinyl.
I don't know.
No, for you guys, yeah. But I'm saying for the vinyl, they might not play everybody because they're locked in.
I know, but then it's like,
matter.
Well, then you only have 4 players. So you don't have that many players.
You can't rest. That's actually a good point. Totally good point. Okay, so we already talked about the laces a little bit. I don't want to look ahead too much. I know you have one game, all the things. But what has made, let's just go down the line a little bit, like what has made the Phantom so good this season? Like what about them is so difficult to play against?
Yeah, I think the Phantom, I mean, they're like playing like the top team, you know. They are number 1 at this point. And the fact that they have someone who covers everything, you know, whether it's Tosh being a 2-way player, Plum getting downhill and being like an offensive scorer at all times. AB and Kiki really holding it down in the paint. And then Tip Hayes, you know, just really she's shooting the 3 really, really well right now. And it just seems like they're in a great headspace chemistry wise. And that's tough to really rattle, especially in a 1-game playoff series to go to the next round.
Yeah. And then what about the Rose? And I bring them up for obvious reasons. This team that like last year, they weren't doing so great. Then they found it, go to win the championship, obviously led by Chelsea Gray, also the one-on-one winner. So she's on a little bit of a burner. And then Angel Reese is back. So like you may match up with them, you may not, and who knows? But like, what do you see in them? Yeah,
I think the Rose, like you said, and you touched on a little bit, it's really hard to kind of like project or predict anything because it's 1 game. You know, last year the Owls, they lost 1 regular season game and they lost in the first round to the vinyl because you just never know what'll happen. And the Rose obviously added firepower and Angel, you know, big body that's really hard to kind of move offensively or defensively. And Chelsea's been like you said, on a heater. She's scoring the ball really, really well. And you know, when she gets to her spots between the free throw line and the elbows, like you're in trouble. You know, you're in trouble. Yeah. But it was weird. The last time we played the Rose, it was right after the trade, but right before they got Angel. So they had like 4 people.
Yeah.
we were like, what's happening right now? But I think that you see when Angel came, I think they lost their first 2 games, but they just beat the Laces, and they're really getting their kind of chemistry going at the right time.
Okay, well, it's definitely. I mean, we're all going to be glued, paying attention to see how these playoffs, how they kind of unravel, I guess, or unfold in terms of the seedings. Before I let you go,
is unraveling.
I know Unrivaled is unraveling. I definitely meant unfolding. Before I let you go, just like a couple things on like Unrivaled as a business, right?
Yeah.
Already mentioned like Philadelphia being such a huge success. I know that there's already conversation about doing that more in the future, going on the road. The one-on-one tournament has been like wildly successful, not just in, I think, like not just in the play itself. That's been really fun to watch, but also the conversation that it started, right? It happens to take place exactly during the NBA All-Star game. So then everybody starts talking about it that way. So there's just all this conversation. So I'm just curious, like, if you look back on the last 2 years, I don't know, has it gone as expected? I feel like sometimes when you start new businesses, they eventually take on a life of their own and they kind of just become what they're meant to become. But I'm just curious, when you look back, like, is it everything you expected and more? Do you think there's areas to improve? Like, how do you view it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that looking back, especially after year 1, it was kind of like we exceeded expectations in all things. And, nobody knew the style of game. So like you could even say those games were a little bit funky as far as like people trying to figure out what they were doing and what the style of play was. But to exceed expectations in year 1 and then go to year 2 and now be able to have 2 tour stops, a successful one-on-one tournament, more teams, more players, like a DP pool. I feel like we're trying to reach as many buckets as possible as far as making sure that this is a place where everyone can really get something out of it. And that is from a player, but also a fan perspective. And I think that's the biggest sign for me is, you see these fans coming and they're coming from all over, flying in from California or New York or, Seattle. And they just want to see their favorite players. And that's an opportunity that's been missed for a long time just because of how the overseas landscape has been. But I'm just really proud of the way that we've been able to kind of create a place where players have access to everything and fans are able to in turn get this intimate environment where they feel like they're really close to us, because they are.
Yeah, no, it has been really amazing to watch. I'm excited for the playoffs. You're in this unique position where you're both, I started at the top with this, right? Like you're building a league that you're also competing in. So before I let you go, last question, what would it mean to win a championship in like the league you started?
Yeah, to win a championship in the league that, Fee and I started, I think would be extremely special because it's literally built from the ground up. I've seen the arena and the entire facility before it was all Unrivaled, and really just be able to enjoy that. Not be satisfied, but just be happy that I was able to execute the business side and also the player side to be at the top.
That's crazy. Every time I look at you and Fee, I think of Jay-Z's lyric where he's like, I'm Michael Jordan. I play for the team I own. That actually wasn't even that true. Michael Jordan never really, I don't think, played for the team he owned. You guys are actually doing it. Stewie, thank you so much for coming on. And good luck, man. Good luck.
Thank you. Go Misties. Come on.
All right, that's it for our show today. So much fun talking to Stewie as usual. Honestly, I think the most interesting part was, hearing about the playoffs, hearing how amazing it is that she and Nafisa started a league that they play in. But I really enjoyed hearing the breakdown of how she approaches like playing a 3-on-3 game versus a 5-on-5 and just how things are, basketball is basketball, but it's always about finding these subtle ways to get an edge. And when you're playing 3-on-3, those ways change. And the sooner you find them, the better you're going to be. So appreciate Stewie for coming on so much. Like I said, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. This episode is a co-production of Together and Vox Media. Our producers are Tommy Alter, Jason Gallagher, Richie Bozick, Jess Clarendon, and Melanie Carter. Support for this show comes from TNT Sports. The final week of the Unrivaled season is here. Be sure to lock in on Unrivaled playoffs beginning on Saturday, February 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern to see who will call themselves the champion. Catch all of the action on TNT, True TV, and HBO Max. For more information and to stay up to date with league news, visit Unrivaled on TNTSports.com. Follow @Unrivaled Basketball and @BRW Sports on social platforms and subscribe to the league's newsletter found at unrivaled.basketball/newsletter.